It's near the beginning of the calendar year, and for some, it feels like a fresh start. Most of us are long past making resolutions. We've come to see that they don't last and are usually followed up by shame and guilt. I haven't made resolutions for years, but I thought it might be good to share with you a few simple ways you could plan for some soul care in an ongoing way. These ideas are bottom shelf, and that's good. It's always wise to begin small and build habits. I'm Jem Fadling, and it's time for I Can Do That. I'm going to share with you one idea for each of your daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly life. Now, don't get overwhelmed. You don't have to do all of this. You can begin by choosing one and just add it to your routine. And then you can add others if you want to as you go along. My prayer is that these ideas will spark something within you toward soulful habits. Just like we brush our teeth and make our bed or eat a meal, these practices are routines that can help us to remain open, aware, and willing clay in the potter's hands. So let's start with daily. Here's an idea for you. Just enjoy 5 minutes of presence. 5 minutes. Practicing presence is becoming aware of your mind, your body, and your heart all in the same place at the same time. So you can just set a timer and simply sit or stand still for 5 minutes. Yes, your mind will usually race, but it's healthy to train your body and your soul to be still, even for a very brief time. You can place one hand on your heart and one on your belly, and you can just feel yourself breathe. Remember that you are a human being and you are created and nurtured by a loving God. Breathe deeply and lengthen your exhale. This has the benefit of calming your heart as you rest in God's presence. So that's just a very simple daily routine you could begin anytime. Now let's move to weekly. Well, weekly, you could make space for reflection. Think back through the week and ask yourself 2 questions. You can journal or simply think it through in your mind. Here's the first question. What was one time this week you felt good or joyful or content? And then the second question is, what was one time you felt resistant or sad or discontented? Now, you don't need to solve anything exactly right now. You can just simply notice these dynamics in your life and allow a prayer to bubble up from within you as you recall the conversations and situations of your week. And then hold all of this in God's presence. Now, this can take 10 minutes or less, or you can make more time if you'd like. It depends on how long you journal. So that's weekly. What about monthly? Well, once a month, it's good to place yourself in receptive mode. This isn't a time to conquer anything or strive for something to occur. It's more like a be still and know that I am God time. We're often in active mode because at our best, we are in fact loving and serving others. But receptive mode is a necessary pattern as well. It helps relieve some pressure and it leans us toward humility. Believe it or not, the world will still spin if you step back for a bit. Now, during this time, you can begin in silence. You can receive God's love and care. You could open your hands to remind yourself to remain humble. You let go of that which holds you back or presses you down. Spend time doing what feels life-giving. Have a minimal toolkit, a Bible, a journal, a pen, music, spiritual reading. If it helps, take a walk and set all of that stuff aside. Sometimes I like to move to be able to think more clearly. So journal or move. If you can, get yourself someplace lovely. It just helps to remove yourself from distractions. So I suggest if you're going to do this monthly, set aside just an hour. It's a great starting point. And if this is a regular practice for you, you might want a half day. Now, in the show notes, I've provided a link for a great guide to help you as you engage this time. Well, moving on to quarterly. Quarterly, assess your patterns and make adjustments. Be sure to notice your energy levels. Again, you are a human and not a machine. We are seasonal creatures just like flowers and trees. So make adjustments to your calendar and your life without guilt. Here are some questions to help you discern. Do I have enough life-giving activities in my life? And how might I increase that which is life-giving? You could ask yourself, where is my energy waning? Could I let go of those activities? Do I have enough buffer or recovery time in between engagements? What do I need in order to feel healthy, body, mind, and soul? And what support do I need to make the necessary changes? Give yourself the gift of this important check-in, and like a tree in an orchard, you need watering, thinning, and resting. So try that on just quarterly. Well, moving on to yearly. Once a year, you could try engaging a grand examine. Now, some people enjoy a daily examine, but you can also engage a grand examine by reflecting on the whole previous year. And this is a great way to get an overview of God's movements within your life on a larger scale. And this is where discernment really gets to shine. We don't often know what's happening in the midst of a particular season, but when we stop and look back, often our eyes and hearts are open to the large brushstrokes of our own formation. Now, we have created a beautiful guide for engaging a grand examine. It's in the show notes as well, and you can use it as is or allow it to spark your own imagination for ways to encounter God in the big picture of your life. Now, I've given you very brief ideas for daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly. I hope one or more of these will feel like a good next step for you. The links to the documents I mentioned will be in the show notes. And as always, blessings to you as you make your way. Now, here's your I can do that for this week. Choose at least one of the practices I mentioned and calendar it for yourself. Even if you want to engage all of these practices, I suggest starting with one or two and get them rolling first. And remember, you're making your way forward one small, simple, and gracious step at a time.